Joining me now is Ali Shihabi, Executive Director of the Arabia Foundation, and he's the author of a new op-ed in the New York Times headlined, "What Saudi Arabia Needs to Hear from Trump." Ali, great to have you here this morning.
Thank you.
In your op-ed, you say the Saudis will be listening intently this weekend for even more reassurance from Mr. Trump that the Iran page has truly been turned and that the Saudi-American alliance is back on track. Is that the main focus for Saudi Arabia during this visit, gaining assurances about the Trump administration's policies for Iran?
Well, I think so. It's also the Saudi government appreciates very much the symbolism of the visit, the fact that President Trump is coming there as his first visit abroad, and the message it also sends to the American heartland that Saudi Arabia is a very close ally of America. You know, with all the confusion that came out in the rhetoric of the campaign, and also the confusion generally over the past 10, 15 years since 9/11, I think the American public has been confused about Saudi Arabia's role. And having President Trump, who, you know, in a way had said a lot of negative things on the campaign, once he becomes president, deciding to come to Saudi Arabia as his first stop, and reiterating the close relationship, and for the American public to see the warmth that the president has received with in Saudi Arabia, drives home the fact that this is really a 75-year-old strategic relationship that has only grown stronger over the last 10, 15 years, militarily, in security, in intelligence. And I think that is being very well received in Saudi Arabia.
And Ali, what messages are Saudi leaders looking to hear from the president?
Well, I think a confirmation, really, of what the administration has expressed so far. So the administration has come around to the Saudi view that Iran is the major driver of insecurity in the region, and actually is as dangerous as ISIS. And the administration has you know, in the person of their Secretary of and their national security advisors, have said that on numerous occasions. So I think that appreciation of joint risk that we see coming from Iran is very important, and we expect the president will be reiterating that. And the fact that the first line of defense, really, against terrorism starts with countries like Saudi Arabia that are on the front line of fighting terrorism. You know, ISIS looks upon Saudi Arabia as its main target, really. So Saudi Arabia is on the front line of fighting ISIS and is on the front line of fighting terrorism, and the fact that, you know, the president is coming there is a confirmation of that.
And how will today's events be different from those that took place during former President Obama's trips to Saudi Arabia?
Look, President Obama, the problem with the President Obama was people in Saudi Arabia felt that President Obama underestimated the risk that the Iranian regime showed, really, or the underlying risk of Iranian behavior to stability in the Middle East. I think they felt that the Iranians, you know, play a bit of a dog and pony show. They have a president and a foreign minister that speak nicely to Western audiences and project moderation, but the people who really run Iran, the supreme leader and the Revolutionary Guard, are working on subversion across the Middle East, you know, from Syria to Yemen. So there was always a discomfort that that sort of narrative and PR that the Iranians were projecting in a way was bought by the Obama White House.
And Ali, I'm going to bring in my colleague Ayman Moyadeen for just a minute. Ayman.
Ali, if I can ask you specifically about what the Saudis would like to see the United States play, particularly in the Yemen theater. Would they like to see the United States get involved militarily in Yemen, or what would be on the top of the list from the Saudi king's perspective on what the United States do to curb what you're describing as Iran's subversive actions in the region?
Well, I don't think there's any expectation that the United States is going to have any boots on the ground. It's a question of increased intelligence sharing and a more maybe vigorous role by the U.S. Navy to interdict Iranian arms shipments that are being smuggled from Iran to Yemen. So I think those are the two. And obviously the supply of arms, the Obama administration had put those, particularly certain ammunition, precision ammunition, on hold. And the Trump administration has released those. So I think that is what we're looking for, really, and nothing more elaborate than that.
All right, we're going to come back with